Welcome everyone. Something a bit new from me today. I have never truly played Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle-earth strategy game. I have played the skirmish version a few years back and picked up a couple of wargs. We're just on a bit of a friendly bash at our local club, and I thought I'll give it a go. Couldn't remember the rules too much, so recently when I was demoed by Tabletop Dan, one of the local guys. I've been on this channel for a while. He's the guy normally wearing the Ant-Man helmet when we're playing Marvel Crisis Protocol. Yeah, he demoed the Middle-earth strategy game for me, and my other half and a couple others at the club have got the models. We haven't played for a very long time. Sorry, they haven't played for a very long time, and they've got some of the old metal models. Now I know more and more plastic is slowly being drip fed into that game, and the quality is getting better of plastics these days. But the old original baseline troops plastics weren't fantastic. I remember way back when I was trying to assemble these guys. The plastic was quite brittle, and I've picked up a load of eBay orcs and eBay Uruk, and all the spears, not all the spears, a lot of the spears are broken. So eBay purchases like this, broken spears, are fairly common in lots of game systems. So there are companies out there that do make their own spears for various games, and I've got a box of spears here which I've just tipped everywhere, which is fantastic, just to show you. So I picked these up at a local gaming show last month. Wire spears for just the occasion. So brass spears that you could clip to whatever length you like, and I was going to give it a go. So I thought it was fairly easy, starting off like this, finding the centre of the broken pike, drilling it out with the correct size drill bit and with a pin drill, like so. Not a problem. You can see there's a butt coming, isn't there? So going a few mil down, nice and steady. Brilliant. Not a problem. I'm going to get one of those lovely spears out, and hopefully not send them flying again this time. Spear. Obviously I will cut the length. Nice little tip on these, if it will focus. And it is perfect, he says. Give it a little bit of a wiggle, and spears go in, not a problem. So maybe a bit of glue when you do put them in, but there we go. That is an incredible long pike. So the pikes aren't that long in Lord of the Rings. The pikes are indeed 7 centimeters long in total, from the base all the way to the end. So you can see that is definitely more. If I measure from the base there, we're knocking on nearly 12 centimeters. So here's one I've attempted earlier in the Blue Peter fashion. I've trimmed it to length. It's got to that length there. So 7 centimeters is what I was after. That is pretty much 7 centimeters. But, and here's the but, you knew it was coming. The spears aren't like this for Uruk. So what am I going to do with not quite 20 Uruk with broken spears? Yes, I could repair them all. They could all look like that. They are glued in, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Pretty damn sturdy, pretty good. I am happy with that. Obviously I will repaint these. That's just an eBay purchase. But yeah, what do I do? So the tips are supposed to be more like that. So you can see this guy here. The tips are supposed to be more like that. And these are more like your standard tips. Very, very small. Where these are knobbly, jagged. They're just rough hewn metal, I would say. So what I'm going to do is use some blue stuff. Some blue stuff, weirdly, well, this is what I ordered. It's not actually blue, so it's not traditional blue stuff, but it is Insta-Mold. So you can see I've used it previously. I don't know if you can see what that is. On a Necromunda crane arm. You can see it clear in that one. And it picks out a pretty good level of detail. So whenever you make a two-sided mould, I like to press in with a back of a paintbrush or something, a little knobble there, there, there and there, for example, so you know the exact place it's supposed to lock in. But for these, they're going to be super easy. So I'm just going to put these in boiling water, manipulate them. I'll show you on camera in a minute. Make sure you get an adult to help you if you're not confident or not capable. And I'm going to do it one-sided. So I'm going to press these in like that, just the tips, in a few places, so I can have a bit of a factory going on probably both pieces. But being Insta-Sculpt or blue stuff, whatever you're using, you can, once they are pliable, mash them together into one big ball again and separate them as you will. But I'm going to mass produce these tips, and I'm just going to do it one-sided and just fill them with green stuff, so they're still fairly roughly hewn looking bits of metal, and then I'll attach them to the end of the spears once the green stuff's set. That's the plan. Let's see how I get on. So here's my new cookery program, even sexier than Nigella Lawson. So pan of hot water. Here's one obviously that was made from before. A miniature. Let's fish this stuff out, see how melted it is. So boil the water using a saucepan for ease rather than dunking it in a kettle and then we're going to be drinking some chemicals from God knows when. So this stuff should be fairly pliable. So mash it, mash it, mash it, mash it. Make it fairly flat. There's loads of videos out there on how to use this stuff. It's really cool stuff to use, not a problem. So I'm making it fairly flat. It stays pliable for a little while. I'm going to dunk it back in. So I got rid of all the detail of the previous mould. This stuff is brilliant. You can reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. Thankfully these spear tips don't have much detail in them, so it's not like I'm going to be losing anything. Hopefully that's softened up a little bit. Basically takes 30 seconds to a minute of boiling water to soften up enough. If not, just re-boil the water. Hopefully that's soft enough. And I'm just going to press this little fella in. Probably would have been better if the spear wasn't attached to the model, but hey ho. There's one. There's another one. There's one. There's another one. Just pressing them in. You get the idea. Like I say, I'm going to mass produce these, so I'm not going to wait for each individual bit of green stuff to go off. We'll get this on Saturday morning kitchen. So dunking the other one in, rinse and repeat, do the exact same thing again. Basically, I've got 10 on each. I could do a 20-man unit in no time at all. So after your moulds are fully set, mix up some green stuff and press into the mould. And the secret is not to go too thick with it. You will need to probably sand it or even use a file. So for me, I like to use a nice flat file, nice bit of control, and pop these little suckers out, which should be easily done, just like that. Boop. Super easy. And a little bit of filing to get it nice and flat. Now I do find, obviously, that is pretty damn thin. So mine are maybe slightly thicker, because to get a decent purchase between this piece and that piece there, ideally I want to drill a hole so I can slide it over after cutting off the spear end. So after cutting off that tip there, and then slide the sucker on. Here's one I've done earlier, and when the glue dries you can file it around and keep it relatively thin. So I'm getting it as thin as the haft of the spear itself. So obviously that's your green stuff. There's a bit of green stuff I've done earlier, so I'll zoom in a little bit. I can go a little bit thinner with the file, so that is at the moment probably about the thickness of the file, so I'm going to go a little bit more. But I've also tried it, just out of curiosity, with this stuff. So this stuff is rock solid as well, and it is Green Stuff World UV resin. So pour a little bit in the mould, give it a little bit of tap, try to get any air out of it, and let it go off with the UV torch. Brilliant. It goes off faster than green stuff, potentially harder than green stuff, and it files just as easy. So I can rip through loads of these in no time at all, and it does not interfere with this at all. So you can literally just fill loads of these up and rip from one of these molds in an afternoon quite easily. Just a little bit of filing, a little bit of drilling, and gluing it. So that gives me these results. So that was the beginning, snapped off, drilling a hole so you can fit your pike in just to see if it fits. Obviously massively too big. Next is the trimming stage. After the trimming stage, you then cut the end off and you attach your green stuff or resin point. So that one there. And hopefully you'll end up with this result. So not too shabby. Obviously I haven't stripped these guys back and painted them up yet. So like I said, they're just still my eBay colours. My rescue guys, I will dip them in Dettol or some paint stripper, strip them right back and start again from the very beginning. But I am relatively happy with this. Of course you could use plasticard and that's fine. You can attach that quite easily. The only thing is, obviously you want them fairly uniform, even though these are probably chunks of metal that have been beaten into shape, so they're not all going to be perfect. You want them semi-uniform. Plus, it's just time. These modes literally took minutes. It took longer for waiting for the water to boil than it did to make them. And I think less is more with the resin. Just put a little bit in just to cover the bottom. Give it a little bit of tap to get the air bubbles out. Because remember, these tips are probably 1.5 mm wide. But like I said, however you want to attach it to the brass rod, you can use really good Gorilla Glue, but to get more surface area, I do try to drill a very small hole. And after a while, when you've got 20 of these suckers in front of you, it's hard to tell which is original and which is repaired. And like I said, they're not all perfectly uniform. So hopefully this video made sense. Hopefully it's helpful to you. You guys are probably all over with Battle for Middle-earth. It's new to me, even though it's been out for ages, and I'm hoping they're going to redo the plastics, because the new plastics coming out for these guys are A, better quality, and damn, the detail was good. So maybe they'll rip through after I've repaired all these guys and converted them and painted them up, and bring out new plastic Uruk and other models. But yeah, this technique can be used on any spearman. Of course, like I say, if you've got like a Roman style spear model, you can literally just drill and attach these guys to any length. Not a problem, but especially with Uruk, I did want to put the correct ends on. And I'm sure there's 3D printed files out there for you to just chop, file and glue a new spear on But that's the materials I've got at hand, and hopefully that was useful to you. So stay safe, you wonderful people, and hopefully you'll see some more Lord of the Ring miniature stuff in the future, even if it's me just showing off the stuff I've got painted up. So yeah, take care guys, catch you in the next video.